All right, guys, so we have our third problem. X squared minus 5x minus 64 is equal to 7x. So we want to solve this quadratic equation by factoring. So our first step is to set the equation equal to 0. The equation has not been set to 0 for us, so we have to do that ourselves. We want to move this 7x to the other side so that we can have it equal to 0. In order to do so, we are going to subtract 7x. But what we do to one side, we have to do the other. But we want to make sure that we're combining like terms. So what term is the same as 7x? Well, we have a 5x right here. So that's where we're going to go ahead and subtract our 7x with our like term. All right, so we know that 7x minus 7x is equal to 0. And then we're going to go ahead and solve for the rest of this. We don't have a term like x squared, so we're just going to drop it down. We're not going to do anything to it. We have negative 5x minus 7x, which will give us negative 12x. And since we don't have a term that's the same as negative 64, we're going to go ahead and just drop it down. And now we have our new equation set equal to 0. From here, we can go ahead and factor. Because the coefficient in front of x squared is 1, we're going to go ahead and set it up like normal. 2 parentheses equal to 0. Now, we want to identify our values of a, b, and c. A is the coefficient in front of x squared, b is negative 12, and c is negative 64. So now we have to set up our factor diamond. At the bottom of our diamond is our c value, and on the top of our diamond is our b value. Our c, we know that is negative 64, and our b value is negative 12. When we are putting in our c and b values, we want to make sure we include the signs as well, okay? We want to be able to find two numbers that when multiplied, give me negative 64, and when added, give me negative 12. So let's find two numbers that can be multiplied to make negative 64, and when added, can give us negative 12. Well, I know that 16 and 4 give me 64 when I multiply it, but I need to go ahead and find out how I'm going to get that negative in there. Well, I know that a negative times a positive is a negative, and when I do negative 16 plus 4, I will get negative 12. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our parentheses. I have forgotten to do something here, which is factor out an x from our x squared. Now I can go ahead and find out these values from our factor diamond. We know that we're going to have a value of 16 and a value of 4, and we're going to go ahead and include those signs. We have a negative 16, and this is a positive 4. Now that we have this set up, we want to go ahead and find x. Find both of our x's. To do so, I'm going to separate them so I don't get myself confused, and I'm going to set both parentheses equal to 0. X plus 4 is equal to 0, and x minus 16 is equal to 0. Now what I want to do is isolate that x. I'm trying to find x by itself. So I'm going to add 16 to both sides. And because what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Negative 16 plus 16 is 0. I'm just left with x is equal to 0 plus 16, positive 16. And I have one of my x values now. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the other one. In order to isolate x, I'm going to subtract 4 to both sides. 4 minus 4 will give me 0. So I'm just left with x is equal to 0 minus 4, which is negative 4. Now that I have both of my x values, I'm going to go ahead and put them in the proper form, which is x is equal to, remember we need those curly brackets, and I'm going to go from order of least to greatest. So I have negative 4 is less than 16. And I'm going to go ahead and close it with my curly bracket. And now we have solved our quadratic equation by factoring.